All right, that looks good. So thank you, everyone, and welcome to our webinar, where we invite you to discover the new enterprise features for SonarCloud. In this webinar, we'll walk through each feature of the new enterprise plan for SonarCloud to see it in action and also to learn about its value. So I'm Andrew, your moderator for this webinar, which will be presented by Martin and John, who are both product managers from Sonar. But before I introduce Martin and John, please allow me to quickly go over some essential housekeeping points and also invite you to get warmed up by participating in the poll that you can see on the screen. So the session should last around 45 minutes and it will include a time of questions and answers at the end. So I do invite you to submit your questions at any time during the webinar, but use the Q&A box in Zoom and not the chat box. So use the Q&A box. Behind the scenes today, we have two panelists who will be helping to answer your questions during the webinar. We have Tabitha, who's head of sales admin at Sonar, and we have Sylvain from our solutions engineering team. So as I say, they'll be tasked with answering as many of your questions live during the webinar. So do feel free, as I say, to submit your questions at any time and don't wait until the end. The session will be recorded and we will send out a link via email to that recording in the next few days. And then finally, at the end of the webinar, a short survey will pop up on your screen. We do consider your feedback a gift, so thank you in advance for your participation. Okay, so without further ado, I'd like to introduce you today to today's presenters. We have Martin, who is a product manager focused on SonarCloud, our SaaS solution for clean code. Martin's background is in security, where he worked on incremental static code analysis during his master's thesis at the Ruhr University in Bochum, Germany. He then went on to co-found the technology startup RIPS back in 2016. We have John also joining us, who's also a product manager, who holds 2 master's degrees, business and maths, which have enabled him to take on a variety of roles in engineering and people, project and product management prior to joining Sonar. At Sonar, John's role is specifically to be product manager of education. So without further ado, let's get started. Martin, over to you.
Thank you, Andrew, for the quick introduction, and hello to everyone. Super happy to be here and talk about some of the new things that we have built with SonarCloud Enterprise. So the agenda for the webinar today will be to give a quick introduction about what SonarCloud is and what is behind SonarCloud Enterprise. Then we will jump right away into a demo for SonarCloud Enterprise, with one part being focused more on how you can operate your SonarCloud at scale. And then John will go into telling you or showing you what portfolios and management reporting is all about on SonarCloud. We'll talk a bit about our roadmap until the end of the year and some outlook for 2025 as well. And at the end, there will be a Q&A, like Andrew already said, where you can ask any questions that you have. Please don't hesitate to also use the questions feature from Zoom to ask questions at any time during the webinar. We will try to answer them as good as we can in the background. Thank you also for answering the first survey that we just launched and about your background. And it looks like we have around 50% of existing SonarCube users, around 27% who are totally new to the Sonar ecosystem, and around 17% who are, or let's say 29% who are existing SonarCloud users. That's great. We will try to focus on some areas for everyone here in the webinar. All right. To kick things off, what is SonarCloud? So it's our software as a service solution for clean code. And what that means is that we identify issues in your source code with static code analysis, And we provide a methodology on top of that that really helps you solve those issues and improve your code base over time. So we are not only identifying issues in your source code, but also helping you solve them over time. What we mean by clean code is that we are looking at source code from all different lenses, right? Not only one, but something like reliability, maintainability, and security, right? Those are the kind of focuses that we have currently in the product, and for enterprises, especially security will be important. In the future, we are going to continue looking at this from more and more angles, such as accessibility and performance and such things. SonarCloud is deeply integrated with the 4 major DevOps platforms that are out there today, some like GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, and Azure DevOps. And with this deep integration, we can really provide a seamless experience for all code analysis needs. All right, so the big value that you get with SonarCloud, it's really super easy to get started. Since it's connected to your GitHub, for example, it's super easy to get started. It just requires a couple of clicks. It's scalable, flexible, and offers a fast and accurate analysis, meaning that as you grow your usage of SonarCloud, we will scale automatically with that. It's not something that you really need to think about. There is no CapEx, no administration overhead, and no downtime for upgrades. So all infrastructure is managed on our side, right? So this is not something that you need to invest in and not something that you really need to care about. We promise high availability and an always up-to-date SonarCloud. So we are continuously improving our product and our analysis, and you will benefit from those improvements right away. On top of that, with SonarCloud Enterprise, we, of course, solve your enterprise problems, such as billing, single sign-on, portfolios and management reporting, and configuration at scale. And some of those we are going to demo in just a couple of minutes. We offer support for enterprise languages, such as ABAP, Apex, COBOL, JCL, PLI, and RPG. And this is, of course, on top of the 28 programming languages that the base SonarCloud already supports. We have an enterprise SLA. You can find out more information on this on our website as well. And commercial support will be included in your SonarCloud Enterprise subscription. You have the option to purchase premium support on top of that as well, if this is something that your company would require. All right, let's jump into the demo right away. So what you can see here is the new enterprise space that we have developed for SonarCloud Enterprise. And what this is really an umbrella for all your organizations on SonarCloud, right? An organization, just as a quick reminder, is a one-to-one match with an organization on the DevOps platform side, right? So if you think about GitHub or Azure DevOps, they have organizations, and it's exactly a match to the organization on SonarCloud side. For GitLab, it would be the GitLab group, for example. So within an enterprise, you can manage all of those organizations in one place, basically. It's super flexible, so you can add organizations from any DevOps platform. So for example, if you are using GitHub and Azure DevOps together, you will be able to manage all of them within this enterprise on SonarCloud. Adding and removing organizations is super simple if they are on the right plan, right? It's just a couple of clicks away to kind of add all of the organizations that you have on SonarCloud within this enterprise. The second part that I want to talk about in this demo is single sign-on through SAML. So this is one of the big areas that we've been working on for SonarCloud Enterprise. And with this, instead of relying on authentication through the DevOps platforms, as you have been doing before, you can really connect SonarCloud directly to your identity provider, right? So you get all the expected security and control benefits from the single sign-on that you would expect. We have guides in our documentation on how to connect this to Microsoft Entra or Okta, but of course, any of the major providers, identity providers that support SAML integration will work with SonarCloud as well. And what is great about this is that not only will you be able to control and manage easily who has access to your SonarCloud Enterprise, but also what permissions and what organizations that will have access to. We do this by synchronizing the group from your identity provider to SonarCloud, and through this, it will be much more seamless to manage SonarCloud at scale. Right? Before you had to manage this for each individual user, and now you'll be able to create groups that will be automatically attached to your users and without much administration overhead. I can demo this. So I've set this up in this enterprise showcase with Okta. So I will just log out from this account and authenticate through SSO with a different user. So on the authentication page, you can just choose login with SSO, enter the enterprise key from the enterprise that you have created, and it will redirect me to the identity provider of my choice. And since I'm already authenticated there, this worked automatically. So in this case, this user that I just logged in with just has access to this web organization, right? Without any kind of administration permission, for example. So just access to the web organization. I can now go to my identity provider, sign back in, check the groups of this user, and this user is only part of the web team, right? So if I add this user to the app team now, authenticate again on SonarCloud, we run the synchronization again, and SonarCloud will be able to know that this user is now part of the app team and assign the permissions accordingly, right? So this user now has access to both the app organization and the web organization on SonarCloud with increased permissions. And how this works is really that you set up the same groups on SonarCloud side as you would on your identity provider side. And based on this, we will synchronize the permissions and groups. As a third part of the operational part of the demo, I want to go into some of the project configuration that we've improved. So we elevated the most important parts of the project configuration to the enterprise level. So instead of configuring each project individually, you can now set defaults that will apply to all projects within your organization, right? So in this example, you can set the analysis scope. So for example, excluding some files that you don't want to analyze across your whole organization, just in one place. You can update this in one place, and it will be distributed to all project configuration right away. This works not only for the analysis scope, but also for branch configurations or for the configuration of automatic analysis. And just a quick reminder, automatic analysis is really our way to super quickly get you onboarded on SonarCloud, right? So where in the past you had to set up a new CI/CD process to analyze your projects. With automatic analysis, this happens all on SonarCloud side, right? So you can really, with 2 clicks, you can import your projects, start an analysis, and start improving your source code, right? This is still not the as deep of analysis as with the CI/CD based approach. So we recommend switching to CI/CD after some time, but it's a great way if you're just starting out and want to get most of the value of SonarCloud. Another interesting addition is this setting, especially for enterprises who value their security, to enforce private projects on SonarCloud. So as you know, analysis of open source projects is free. We offer this for free on SonarCloud. But as an enterprise, to avoid any kind of misconfigurations by your users or admins, this is really a way to enforce that only private projects will be created within your organization, just for added security. And with this, I want to hand over to John to talk about portfolios and reporting.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Martin. So we're going to start by really talking about what is the point of portfolios and reporting? And it's all about how SonarCloud Enterprise can help you understand the state of your code base from a variety of different lenses and really help you make the right decisions. Where do you want to take action first and in what way? So we'll start with portfolios. That's really the root of all of this. And it's very straightforward. A portfolio is just a group of projects. And as long as you set the scope in what you're interested in, you're off to a great start. So it might be that you're a little team, you've got a few projects. That could be the scope of your portfolio. It might be you're a security owner for 50 projects. That's your portfolio. It could even be, in the extreme case, you're the CTO for a company. You really want to understand the shape of your whole world, several thousand projects, make a massive portfolio. And then from there, we'll help you understand the shape of the world and then make good decisions. So this is a little enterprise I have with 2 organizations in it. And go, and then I'm going to go and create myself a portfolio. So you can see I've got a number of portfolios already created, but just to show how straightforward it is, let's just get this going. And it's as simple as that to create the portfolio. And then it's just a question of creating, adding projects. So I've got 2 organizations. I can pick any old projects I like and pull them together. And I can select the particular branch to put in. I'm not going to do that this time just for the sake of speed, but it really is, what are the things that I care about? What are the things I need to take action on? So let's just grab some projects. View those. And then similarly, I'm going to grab some other projects from a different organization. Perhaps I'm spanning different DevOps providers. Let's see what happens. So you can see we've got 9 projects across 2 organizations, and that's going to be our portfolio. There we go. Now, so let's have a look. And this is the idea here, is it's really trying to get away from the details initially and help you understand just at 1,000 feet, what's the shape of the world, and then we can move in and get to the right place as quickly as possible. And we do that by providing different lenses, as Martin said. So we've got releasability, and that's about which of your projects have passed or failed their quality gate. And then we've got the standards. So we've got security, reliability, maintainability, and security review, which is like an extra layer on top of security. And we're going to be looking at expanding to other lenses, other qualities as we move forwards. And we'll talk about that when we look at the roadmap. But for right now, let's talk about security. That's a big interest for most of our users. Let's jump right into it. So we break it into new code and overall code. For users of Sonar, this will be very familiar. If you're not familiar with it, the way we handle this is new code can be something you configure yourself. It might be the last 10 days worth of code. It might be the last releases worth of code, but it's trying to make it so that you're solving a smaller problem. But that doesn't take away from looking at your entire code base, and that's where overall code comes in. So let's do that. So security, E rating, high risk level. Let's dig into this right now. So we know we've got 4 projects sitting in this E level. And by clicking the button, it just shows us, okay, with the projects I added to the portfolio, which ones are in this slide, but also what are the other lenses telling us about the shape of the product. And it's trying to make it so that we know we've got a problem in terms of security, but where am I going to spend my time first? And it might be you go for the largest number of lines of code. It might be you go for one that you know has been historically difficult in the past. For the sake of this discussion, I'm going to interesting rules because I know it's got some things I want to show you. So if you use SonarCube or SonarCloud already, this will look very familiar. We break it down into new code and overall code. So this is just my little project. How are things looking? And if you're in a position where perhaps your stakeholders don't have access to Sonar, or there's an audit statement where you need to just pull out static versions of these pages, that's where these project reports come in. So this is just a very simple way of seeing the state of the world in PDF format, and it explains how the ratings work. So you've just got all that information in one place. Now, you also will have seen as I click that, it is possible to subscribe to a monthly report, and that it just takes some of the pain. But the key messages we're talking about here, we've got all that detail for you to get your job done at the detailed level. How can we pull it back and help you do this at massive scale? And that's really where SonarCloud Enterprise is focusing our time. So this is saying, you know what, I don't need to remember to come and get my monthly report. It'll just land in my inbox once a month, nice and easy. So what we could do here is we could just click here, jump into the security issues and go from there. But let's go look at the security reports. Now, this is a slightly different point of view. This will look very familiar if you're familiar with SonarCube. You probably won't have seen Stig and Casa yet. These are live now on SonarCloud Enterprise, and they'll be coming in version 10.7 of SonarCube. But the idea is, if you have a particular standard that your company needs to follow, or several types of standard, this is a way for us to map the issues you've got outstanding against the particular facets of the standard that you care about. So you can see here, looking at the Casa standard, I've got an issue that is actually quite nastily breaking an input handling problem. And you can see that, okay, well, this is where I want to go. So we've said we've got a portfolio, we know we've got a security problem, we've looked at our projects and seen, okay, this is where the projects have got security issues. We're now inside a project, and now we're going to jump straight to the issue. So you can see that we've gone from, in this simplistic case, less than 10 projects, but you could go for thousands of projects right into this is the action we need to take. And this is from a security point of view, but equally you can do similar things from different points of view. Now, that's just a very quick way of sort of seeing how the enterprise capabilities we have will help you really get to grips with quite a large code base and make good decisions. But let's have a look at where we're going next. So, and it's worth saying, so you'll see there isn't a huge amount on here, and there's a really good reason for that. These are the big things we know we need to get done. But we deliberately only put these things in because it's really important for us to understand how our products are being used, where we can help, where we're going to give you the best value for the time we spend. And we'll talk in a minute how our public roadmap and how working with that public roadmap with you can help us make sure that we're hitting the right key value points for you. So we've looked at these capabilities already on the left. As we move through the rest of the year, it's really about scaling and also providing that additional detail. That's sort of the balancing act we have when it comes to the enterprise plan. Martin talked about AutoScan. With AutoScan, it's super fast getting a single project on board. A couple of clicks, you're in, you're running, you've got results. Fantastic. But in an enterprise, it's not one project, it's 1,000 projects. What can we do to help you do that more easily? And that's exactly what we're focusing on over the next few months. And similarly, when we've got SSO, we've got the capability in place. How can we help you move to SSO more easily? And it's that sort of, we've got the sort of the day-to-day working, and it's really helping you get to grips with that at a massive scale more easily. And similarly, when it comes to reporting, we just showed you how we can take a portfolio, dig into the security, get into the issues. But what about if we roll it back and look at issues at the very top level? What sort of trends can you see if you're talking about an organization's worth of issues? Where can you see particular problem points or particular patterns you might want to dig into? And that's something we're working on again over the next few months. And as Martin said, when it comes to software qualities, security, reliability, maintainability are front and center right now. We'll be bringing WCAG reports and accessibility as a quality, because that's something that we see as a really important need, or we hear as a very important need from our customers with the legislation that's in place and that's coming. It's very important that software is accessible, and we want to make it really easy for you to understand how the issues that are being detected can impact that positively or negatively. So that takes us through to the end of the year. As we move into next year, security, a little bit of billing, which we'll come to in a second. So tokens. If you're working at a very small level, it's fine having a token associated with a user. Everything will run reasonably smoothly. You just need to remember to move tokens around or recreate them as people move about. But as you start working at larger scale, thousands, tens of thousands of users, it becomes more of an overhead, and it's very easy to start missing all the steps you need to make sure the right tokens live in the right place. And that's where organization tokens come into play. So you're setting it at the organization level, and you don't need to worry about who's in which team at a particular time. And then extending from that, we've got the ability to bring your own key. And that's really something very important. It's how much can we remove the need to specify stuff specifically for Sonar? You're doing it elsewhere, you're doing it for other reasons. Let's pull that in and make the best use of the work you've already done, rather than requiring you to do additional maintenance setup work on Sonar, especially if you're working at scale. And that's what that third bullet's about. It's about synchronizing access management. You've got all the data somewhere else, you've already defined it, we'll use it. And then almost sort of in the other direction, we've got this enterprise concept that we've brought in. So you've got a number of organizations, you pull them together into an enterprise. Currently, you're being billed at the organization level. So what we'll do as we move into 2025 is we'll give you a single bill at the enterprise level. We'll provide you all the information you need in terms of how things are being used based on the organization and letting you cross-bill within your own company. But from our point of view, you pay us once, and then you can work out how you want to share that around in your teams. And that's really what we've got coming for the rest of the year. And now this is where I was talking about with this public roadmap. This link is publicly accessible. It's a great way to see what we're up to. It's a great way to see how things are progressing over time. We keep this up to date. We'll move things around as we start work, as they become released. But it's more than that. Yes, you can see what we're up to. You can also sign up to be notified as we make changes. So as we tell the world this thing's moved into development or this thing's been released, you automatically get notified. You can also vote on things to help us understand what matters to you the most. And you can also see that there is the ability to submit new ideas. And that's where we deliberately leave space in our roadmap to make sure that as the world is moving fast, as things change, we want to make sure we're hitting the key values for you alongside the stuff we already know is going to be valuable. And this helps us do that. So please, if you haven't before, please do jump in and have a look at that. And that will help us make sure we're hitting the right value points for you as we expand what we've already done for SonarCloud Enterprise. Now, before we move into some questions, one last chance for a poll. Okay, there we go. So we've talked about a number of things, number of different features, number of different capabilities. What do these look like for you? How interesting are they? Please do jump on in. I should hopefully see a poll on your screen. Tick everything you like the look of, everything that matters to you that you think, oh man, that would make my life easier. That's exactly what we're looking for with SonarCloud Enterprise. It's about that emotional response. Oh, my life's just much better. This is easier. So please do dig in there, and then I will pass this along and I'll hand over to Andrew.
John, thank you. Martin, thank you very much. Lots of questions coming in. So as I gather those together, I just wanted to put this slide up showing some upcoming webinars, which you're most welcome to participate in. Okay, so start with the first question. Okay, let's start with an easy one. I'm a SonarCube customer. At what point does it make sense for me to consider SonarCloud Enterprise?
It's a great question. I think I mean, from our point of view, one of the things we see is, and Martin, please do jump in. I think it's the point where you start, well, a cloud strategy. If everything else in your life is in the cloud, why fight it? Jump in, make sure that you're everything else that makes sense is up there. So let's go and get Sonar in the cloud with you. One of the things that's really important is we do have a live trial. It's very easy to get going and have a play with SonarCloud Enterprise and make sure that it's meeting your needs. And I think that's the thing. If there's any chance that you need that extra reporting, or if you want that extra visibility to help you with the decision making, or you need SAML in the cloud, come and have a play with it and see what you think. And please give us the feedback. I mean, does that seem fair, Martin?
Yeah, and to add on top of that, I think as soon as you don't want to manage your own instances of SonarCube, that's a great, let's say, starting point to start moving to SonarCloud Enterprise, right? We will take care of all your needs about high availability, about scalability as well. So as John's mentioned, if you have a cloud-first strategy and are starting to move all your services to the cloud, it's a great starting point for this for Sonar as well.
Okay, great. Okay, we're just going to launch a poll as well while I'm just getting ready for the next one. If you want to be contacted, there's a poll. It should be appearing shortly. Okay, there were lots of questions around our plans for SSO and access management. Maybe Martin, which providers have we tested with specifically? That's a common theme.
Yes, so we have very deep support with GitHub, Bitbucket, Azure DevOps, and GitLab. So those are the 4 major ones that where you will have the best experience. But of course, you can also integrate with any other provider that you have or any other way of managing your source code, right? So all of this is available. You won't get some of the more advanced features, right? Like our pull request decoration or anything like this. But of course, you can still use us for any kind of code analysis that needs that you have.
Great. Thanks, Martin. Another one, a bit more specific. Is there a way to connect internal Git repositories to SonarCloud?
Yes, that builds very well on the previous question, right? So definitely, it's also possible to use your internal Git repositories with SonarCloud. As previously mentioned, you won't get this kind of deep integration with pull requests, decorations, and stuff like that. But you will be able to use the core functionality that we have for sure.
Great. Yeah, thanks for that clarification, Martin. And I'm just going to group a number of other questions into one question now, which is which cloud providers and regions do you support now and plan to support?
So currently, SonarCloud is hosted in the EU region, more specifically Germany and Ireland. And we are working tirelessly to build a second region in the US. So this is kind of the on the roadmap for ideally beginning of 2025. That's what we are looking at for a US region for SonarCloud.
Great, thank you. And I'm just going back to the questions again. Portfolios definitely getting a lot of interest, John. Anything you'd like to say, just to reiterate, John, in terms of where we're going next with portfolios?
You know what? It's almost twee to say it, but it's wherever our customers need us to go. I think we're looking to SonarCube for inspiration. We want to make sure that we're really hitting all the key needs that our customers have who are using SonarCube today. Make sure that exists in SonarCloud Enterprise, and we're using this as a chance to really see if we can improve on that experience. But also, again, yeah, I think it's very important that the more we can get feedback from our users on how they want to use it, on the problems they're trying to solve, with the information they really need, that's the direction we're going to go in.
Great. I know there was another question about how can we try these enterprise features? Is there an easy way to do that? So I guess that's going to depend on what kind of customer you are today. But Martin, perhaps you want to take that one?
Yes. So if you are on an existing yearly license on SonarCloud, you can head over to your billing page on SonarCloud, and you'll be able to try the enterprise features for free. So that's available today. You can do that right now as we speak. If you are new to Sonar or to SonarCloud in general, it's best to reach out to our sales team, and I'm sure they will be able to provide you with a trial license for SonarCloud Enterprise. And maybe Tabitha has more information on that as well.
Yeah, we can probably put a link in the chat to the way that we can make contact there for sure. Okay, thanks, Martin. Great. Well, we are just at past. Unless there are any other last minute questions. I know there was one actually on the SLA, which I spotted. It's probably been answered by our panelists, but the best place to go is on our webpage. There is a link under the Trust Center there. So definitely check that out in terms of the SLA and also other such information around SonarCloud. I'm just checking again. I think we can also find information on the performance of SonarCloud there as well. Also, I'm just looking through the questions about data retention. That's also hosted there too. Sorry for gathering all these questions into one area. We will come back to you specifically, but just for the general population. Okay, so I think we will leave it there. We will come back on our community with the questions that we haven't answered live or that we've answered via our panelists that we want to make available to everybody. So if there are any last minute questions, do pop them in and we will get to them. But yes, let me just leave it there and I will leave you with a poll. Not a poll, just a feedback survey as we close the webinar, and just remains for me to say thank you for attending. We will send out a link to the recording. Thanks to Martin, thanks to John, thanks to our panelists, Tabitha and Sylvain. And we'll hope to see you at a future webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.